Following Japan's surrender from World War II, its newly written constitution forbid the country from ever maintaining a military. But because it's a vulnerable island nation, and because of the reality of geopolitics, Japan has been allowed to retain a technically not military self-defense force. So despite looking very much like a regular military, this armed force is a little unconventional. And this was never more clear than in 2018, when the naval branch introduced a new representative, the pink sea cucumber known as Namakoro. While you might think that military-grade masculinity would be unwelcoming to a pink sea cucumber as the official mascot, Namakoro was designed to subvert this, and was chosen because sea cucumbers are known to have thick skin and don't hide when they sense danger. More broadly though, Namakoro is evidence of a growing trend of using these bizarre mascots in unexpected ways. Take these three middle-aged men. Atsuo is a balding, mid-40s fairy who loves hot springs. Chichayo-san is a lovable slob whose name literally translates into little middle-aged man. And Hokubucho is an office manager dressed as a firefly. But what these men have in common is that they are, believe it or not, each mascots for a Japanese city, complete with celebrity status, merchandise, and even YouTube channels. But while these unlikely heroes are a far cry from the most recognizable Japanese characters, the world outside of Japan only sees the tip of the iceberg. There are now thousands of fully costumed mascots roaming Japan, representing not only food brands and sports teams, but national institutions, social awareness initiatives, and government departments. Wakapi, for example, represents Japan's most infamous women's prison. Shinjuku Awawa is the soap bubble mascot for hand-washing awareness, while Porisukun teaches citizens as the official law education mascot. In Japanese, these characters are known as yuru kara coming from the English word character, while yuru is usually translated as loose, but alternative translations include wobbly, floppy, and casual. The demand for these wobbly creatures partly comes as they've proven to be big business. In 2016, mascot superstar Kumamon bought in over 1 billion yen to his local Kumamoto prefecture. The growth has been so reliable that researchers have suggested the mascot economy is invulnerable to recession. As a result, there are regular competitions to find the next mascot star, and as the number of entrants has increased, the fight for popularity has become so fierce that a recent nationwide competition was marred by allegations of vote tampering. Social media is obviously a huge part of finding modern popularity, and mascots have increasingly taken to Twitter in character and found considerable audiences. Even lesser known characters like Kawaii, a green flower mascot for Kawaguchi City, tweet several times a day, and they even make sure to throw in some English with relatable messages about wanting a girlfriend, inspirational ones about overcoming alcoholism, or bizarre ones like I'm Brad Pitt. Regional pride is a big part of it too. There is an official mascot for each of Japan's 47 prefectures, ranging from the traditionally cute Ikoton, an eco-friendly pig from Fukuoka Prefecture, to the somewhat cute Musumibaru, a samurai with a rice ball head from Miyagi, to the straight up weird Marimokori from Hokkaido, and yes, that is a pelvic bump. The name Marimokori is made by combining marimo, a bulbous algae that grows in the area, with mokori, which means bulge, and can be slang for erection. Surprisingly though, Japan's largest prefecture is home to weirder mascots. The Rumoi region is home to only about 53,000 people, but is a big family of 8 mascots. The local government decided that the mascot per capita rate was a bit high, but rather than scrap any of the members, they decided to join them together in a huge, anime, Voltron-style robot. Official government documents for the region, like this one about highway construction, now bear the image of Ororo Robo Mebius, as he's known. An American equivalent for this might be if an average region like Lincoln County, Oregon, was suddenly given the 5 elemental rings that it could use to summon Captain Planet. But bizarre exceptions aside, there does seem to be a kind of vague formula for a lot of these regional mascots. We can see this with the popular Nyongo Star, who has found viral fame across the internet, particularly with his impressive heavy metal drumming videos. Nyango's backstory states that he is the spirit of a dead cat who now inhabits an apple, and, as creepy as this is, through Nyango we can see the mascot formula of something cute, plus something local, plus a hobby or personality trait. Cats are infamously cute, apples are a common produce of the Kuroishi region, and Nyango Star loves playing the drums. The name Nyango Star is a clever combination of these aspects as well. It largely comes from famous Beatles drummer Ringo Starr, as Ringo coincidentally means apple in Japanese, while Nyan is the Japanese onomatopoeia equivalent of meow. Watching any of Japan's prized Studio Ghibli films, particularly Spirited Away, creatures and spirits are usually huge parts of the story. These depictions are influenced by Japan's Shinto religious beliefs, which are tied very closely to the culture. While it would of course be a stretch to say that Yurikara can in any way represent these spirits, some of the other creatures you'll see, like these anthropomorphic frogs, have also long been a part of the culture, as we see on the Choju Giga, a 900-year-old scroll featuring animals behaving like humans. At the very least, these point towards the long-standing affinity that Japan has to inhuman creatures navigating the human world. Combined with bright colours, Twitter accounts, and distinct personalities, it's easy to see how these characters have developed and become popular. But any formal research on Yurikara will inevitably lead you to one ubiquitous Japanese word: Kawaii. This is almost always translated as cute, and generally this seems accurate for a lot of the imagery it describes. But linguists have argued that other translations, like innocent, or in particular vulnerable, offer a better description. Over on Vox's YouTube channel, they made a great video on how the lazy egg character Gudetama came into popularity, and they suggest that the kawaii pop culture boom came after World War II, when Japan leaned into its vulnerability. While the concept stretches back a lot further than World War II, allegedly all the way back to this book written in the year 1002, the link between kawaii and vulnerability seems to be strong. This vulnerability has its critics though. Famous contemporary artist Takashi Murakami has been particularly critical of modern pop culture, calling anime, for example, a culture of impotence, and heavily linking kawaii with not just vulnerability, but immaturity. He suggests that part of why it's been successful is that there is no distinction between high and low art in Japan. And to illustrate this, his super flat art style satirically uses a lot of kawaii imagery, which the West might consider low art, in high art contexts, with exhibitions in New York and Paris. He also suggests that Japanese people are surprised by the pretentiousness of Western high art, and this might explain why bright, silly characters, which the West might consider tacky or immature, can be integrated into everyday life without seeming juvenile. Remember that Japan's de facto navy has a pink sea cucumber as its public-facing mascot. This could be seen as immature, but others might see it as subverting the institution's traditional masculinity, and therefore making it more accessible. Other intimidating institutions, like prisons, appear to use mascots in the same way. It's clear that these characters aren't just silly costumes. They are important vehicles for both regional pride and social values. Particularly because the best creations from the West seem to be the bizarre Gritty from America and Mr. Blobby from the UK, perhaps we shouldn't be so quick to dismiss Japan's Yurikara as simply being quirky or ridiculous.